quiet voice that says you're never enough? Well, tonight, on the flip side of adversity, my guest, Dr. Nefertiti Poyner, is going to talk real talk about how that hidden belief can actually shape your life. It shaped hers, and how she actually broke free to live fully aligned. After leaving a secure 24-year career, she's built a mission-driven business to help others reclaim their joy, purpose, and most importantly, their peace. So, what pivot have you been procrastinating on? Stay with us for a conversation that will challenge your thinking and empower you to be able to heal. You know, you don't want to miss this one, because the flip side of not enough is purpose. Stay with us. Trauma, toxic stress, broken habit, and hurting heart don't define destiny, but peace isn't passive. It requires an exchange. To create a flip and access peace in the middle of the pieces, you are challenged to make an exchange of the lies that have kept you mentally hostage in basement moments. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, brings powerful stories and fearless conversations from experts in the field of business, relationships, emotional, physical, and mental health, and faith-based communities. Each episode creates a brave space with powerful tools from authentic connections. Tune in as we dig in with Dr. Jackson on the flip side of adversity. Hello and welcome to our Flip Side of Adversity episode. I'm so excited about this conversation. Have you ever met somebody that you have admired for years and you actually get to meet them and suddenly you have a new good girlfriend? That is literally what happened to me as I got the opportunity to be able to actually meet Dr. Nefertiti Poyner. She has been, for me, a beacon of light in education, in the conversation of resilience. And so when I got to meet her, it was like we had been friends all along, and now we're claiming ourselves to be good girlfriends. But let me tell you a little bit about why she is ready to have this conversation with you, flipping the conversation from not enough to aligning it with purpose. Dr. Nefertiti Poyner is the founder and CEO of Mighty Works Education Group, LLC, where she equips leaders, educators, and human service professionals to reclaim joy, build resilience, and lead with purpose. Drawing from her journey as a teacher, a national trainer, and faith-driven leader, Dr. Poyner inspires others to break barriers, discover their purpose, and cultivate thriving communities. So now I get to say, welcome to the flip side of adversity, Dr. Nefertiti Poyner.
Thank you, ma'am. I was all nervous over here. I was nervous because my mic had the quiet button over it. And I was like, Nefertiti, did you press all the right buttons? Then I realized you had me on mute until you were finished. I'm okay now.
You're okay now. You are
I'm
okay now. Well, you are
Yes.
better than okay because I appreciate your yes. You said yes. And because I know the depth of your expertise and your wisdom, I know that you are going to be dropping nuggets. So if you haven't gotten your pen and pencil yet, or your paper to be able, or the journal that you always write in, now's the time. Grab it because you are going to get some nuggets in this conversation.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, when I called in, thank you for the invitation. You could have invited anyone to sit across from you today. And I'm just excited that we can talk about these things and get better, getting better.
Yes. So let's jump into the conversation. This show is called The Flip
All
Side
right.
of Adversity. And I'd like to understand from you, first of all, how do you actually define adversity?
It's a great question. When I think quietly about what adversity means for me, it's anything that's keeping me from being Nefertiti, right? Like you have no idea how I'm over here just smiling because you could pronounce Nefertiti, right? I have met people who have mispronounced my name in more ways than you could even imagine. So sometimes when I'm with groups, I say, when I was a little girl, I just wanted my name to be Kim. And
Oh,
so just things like adversity for me means not knowing who Nefertiti was, like the
mm,
history behind that name, and wanting to be named Kim. See, to me, this grown
yeah,
up life, that's adversity.
yeah.
It's anything that's getting in the way of you being who you're supposed to be. Anything that's getting in the way of
Embracing it. What I'm hearing you
that.
say is like actually embracing it. And sometimes things that people have said to us about us or things we've gone through have gotten us to believe that I have to be smaller or somebody else when
Yep.
actually you're missing the opportunity to be you because nobody else can play you.
Say it again. Say it again. And again, I don't think people sometimes, and even when I was preparing to hang out with you today, some people think adversity and they want to hear that traumatic story of that was life changing. And absolutely, those moments can be adverse. And I also think, again, some of the things I'll share today, a younger Nefertiti would never call these things adversity. But when I really look at it, anything that is keeping me from who God would have me to be, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or a combination of those things, that's adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And we need strategies to overcome those things, I think.
So you picked a topic that I think a lot of people wrestle with, this whole conversation of never feeling like you are enough. And so I want to ask kind of an abstract question if you'll lean into it with me. So,
Okay.
if never enough was a voice, what would it have been whispering to you for years? And what would the new voice you now have chosen um, to listen to, what is that voice telling you today?
Mm. That's a powerful question.
So often I think that self talk gets
Yeah.
into the driver's seat with this conversation.
Yeah, don't get me in here crying early in this conversation now because this is so personal for me. So listen, I think it said to Nefertiti, sit down and shut up. That's what it said.
Mm.
It said sit down, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a very my mom wasn't strict, but there were some things that just were not tolerated, and the word shut up was one of them. But my quiet voice often said to me, Nefertiti, sit down and shut up.
Ooh,
And I think
powerful.
what brought me to a little bit of tears as I've listened to you is because now the voice says, say it loud and say it proud. Right? The voice says, say it loud and say it proud. And I'm like, yes, we will do that. Yeah. But yeah,
Yes.
that old voice says, sit down, shut up, girl. Ain't nobody listening to you.
Mm. Mm. And, even as you're talking about it, this I can hear or even visually see that sometimes that voice may have been a small voice for someone, but they are now in their 40s, in their 50s, and that little voice is still saying the same thing, and they haven't learned how to turn it off. Not even just change the voice, like actually shut it off, because that was then, and you are a completely different person now. Being
Yep.
able to shut it down. So you shared the voice, but how do you actually show up daily, day in and day out, in a life that allows you to say it loud and say it proud?
Uh, Well, if I'm going to be honest, I will say the voice is still there. She
Mm.
still talks to me, but I don't listen to her the way I used to. I would be not telling the truth if I told you she'll never talk to me anymore. She does. She talks to me before I'm invited for a flip side of adversity conversation. Like, Nefertiti, who do you think you are? Anybody gonna like that? She's still there. But, and won't even say but, I'll say and. I know how to put her over there in a corner and tell her to sit down and shut up. And sometimes I literally have to do that. You go down, you sit down and you shut up. I have
Mhm.
something that I need to say. And so
Mm.
um I I say that she's still there, but the loud and proud of me says, Nefertiti, you are worthy and you are enough. And one person's life can be changed by something that you have to say. I'm learning that not one thing I've gone through in my life was for Nefertiti. Not one thing. It always felt like, oh, I learned that lesson. I learned that lesson. But that's not what God sent me here for. Yes, daughter, you learned the lesson, but I need you to show that lesson to other people because it was not designed just for you. So,
Oh,
with that, it makes me want to keep talking when my little voice still says, girl, ain't nobody listening to you.
and you know what? If I can be honest, just thinking about how I, because I've been following you for years. I can't even
No.
tell you. It probably was in the early 2000s the first time I saw you speak.
Wow. Okay.
And I'll tell you how early it was, because I don't even know if this book is still even available. But I was at a workshop and you were providing, it was a little green book on resilience.
Yes. You built your bounce. Yep.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
I still have it. I still have
You
it.
good. Good, good.
And when I tell you, from that point to now, it's interesting because you can be an outsider looking at someone else and just assume that they are Teflon, that she has got all of it together.
Yep.
She is a mover and a shaker. I wish I could get my life together like hers. And you write this whole
Uh-huh.
script, and here you had a voice. You had a voice that I
Yep.
had, and I would
Absolutely.
and I put you in a place, in my thoughts, in my aspirations, and would never have thought that. How
Absolutely.
often do we do that to
All
people,
the time,
right?
every day. Every
Oh,
day. Every
uh,
day. And I will say to you that when I meet people in training and we really talk about it, there's a Nefertiti when she got her pumps and her blazer on, and then there's Nefertiti when we take the blazer off and we take the shoes off. And what I want people to know is I am becoming every day, but it is an unrelenting work.
yeah.
You're feeling good about yourself is just like going to the gym. You gotta keep working that muscle,
Hmm.
or that self-talk button gets louder, it
Yeah.
gets louder, it gets louder, it gets louder. So I am definitely who I say I am, but it takes work every day
Yeah.
to maintain this thing. My gosh.
Yes.
I wish it was. You could just hang it up and no, it takes work. It
But I
takes
think
work.
because we're always evolving, right? So if you feel
Absolutely.
like you've arrived and you just sit there, you're actually, because the world is going to keep going forward, you're actually, if you're just sitting there, you're actually going backwards. So
Absolutely. I
we're
agree with you
always still
totally.
evolving. Was there a key
Absolutely.
moment where you like pivoted, and was there a moment or an experience that you had that really helped you realize that you were enough just like you are?
And that's another great question. I think I have some personal scenarios where, you know, in a whole nother conversation, we could talk about what self-worth does to your dating life. That's another, we had to come back and have
We're
that
gonna have that. That's
conversation
part
because,
two.
right,
That's
right.
part two.
There's,
Mm-hmm.
there's what
Mm-hmm.
happens when you don't think you're enough and you're dating, and then there's you don't think you're enough and you're trying to find your
Mm-hmm.
way through your education and your employment. It's interesting. So when I joined the Devereaux Center for Resilient Children, I was becoming a trainer. That's where the Building Your Bounce book comes from. Before I wrote building co-authored Building Your Bounce, I was training around resilience for children. That's
Yes.
actually how my career started. I was a preschool and kindergarten teacher in Philly, and then I came to the Devereaux Center for Resilient Children to help providers across the country think about ways to promote social and emotional health and resilience. So I have this big binder of notes that I'm supposed to remember, timing I'm supposed to keep on track. And I'm trying, Dr. V. I'm trying to read all this stuff and tell my stories and think about where I'm going to insert some humor. But the binder that I have to train, it's got about 1,000 pages. So I'm
Yes.
on the plane. I'm writing these notes. I'm in Detroit. I'm traveling to
Mm-hmm.
Detroit. I get to the bags to get my bags. I drop the binder on the floor.
No.
This 1,000 page binder I drop on the floor. So I'm trying to pick that up, get my luggage, get myself together. I am in tears because nobody knows this is my first training doing it by myself. I dropped the binder on the floor. So I get back to my hotel room. The binder is all out of order. I'm trying to put it together. And I said to myself, Nefertiti, you know this. You are enough and you can do this. And there we go. It was one of those moments where I was like, yes, I can do this. And guess what? It was in 25 years of training, it was one of my best trainings. It was one of my best
Yes.
trainings. And I'm like, girl, you got this. And from those moments, I use them all the time. I tell myself this all the time. You got this and you can do it.
Yes, you just set somebody free. So, someone who is listening, who is overthinking, who
Yes.
is trying to like get all of the perfect pieces together, and they are actually sabotaging themselves because they're trying to either be someone that they aren't or aren't meant to be, or they're overthinking
I love
the
you said that.
moment. You just set them free.
I love the way you said that. Overthinking. You've said two things. The self-talk, this conversation, I hope that our listeners will take away. Yes, there's things to do, but one of the first things has to happen is up here.
Hmm.
It's up here. And so I
Hmm.
love how you said the self-talk and overthinking things. Rumination will hurt you, mind, body, and spirit, staying stuck in those things. So yes, I agree with you totally.
Hmm. Hmm. So you gave yourself a mantra, a moment, and a mantra to allow yourself to fully walk into the gift and the skill that you had as a national trainer.
Yes.
And I would even venture to say they already saw your skill, your gift before you saw it, or they would not have been flying you to Detroit to do anything by yourself. How often do we actually hold ourselves back when somebody else has already seen what we don't see? What do you say to someone who isn't seeing themselves the way that they actually are and not letting themselves be that?
Yeah. Once again, is if I could sit on the other side of this conversation some years ago, I would have needed to hear everything that I'm going to say to you. I'm going to read to the person two post-its that I keep at the bottom of my computer. You are
Mm.
already carrying value that no one else can duplicate. See, I think what's happening now is people think, well, Nefertiti, Dr. Reardon, there's already people doing this and doing that. I don't care if there are other people already doing it. The way that you were sent to do it is not the same way. And so you are already carrying Nefertiti, what the world needed. But it took a long time for me to see that in myself. The other one that says you were created with intention, and that alone makes you enough. Because I talk to women all the time that says, Nefertiti, I don't feel like I'm enough yet. And if they will allow me, I'll either hold their hand or we'll do a hug. Earning your worthiness is not a task. You are already worthy enough. You're already worthy enough. I will again say to the person that's listening to us, however, it can't take me saying that.
Mhm. Mhm.
This person has to get clear knowing you have made some mistakes. There are some things in your life, I won't even call them a mistake. You would have wanted to do that over. You have to forgive yourself for not knowing everything that you know now. And let's do better. Let's get better at getting better. But it all starts in how we think and talk about ourselves. That's my lived experience. Lots of people told me, Nefertiti, you're great. You're beautiful. You're this, you're that. I ain't feel like none of that.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't feel any of
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And I know my grammar is not proper when I say it, but I got to say it the way I don't feel like that.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I started to walk and talk in it that I'm like, okay, say it loud and say it
Mhm.
proud. But it took a while. It took a while.
And so it's a journey. It's a journey of
It is.
consistency. And it took a while, it took a minute, and then you've now walked into a whole new phase in your life. You
Yes.
have walked through and you've decided to walk away from a 24-year career. So I want to know two things. What did the first day of this new type of freedom feel like? So what did that first day of freedom feel like? And what was the first fear that tried to enter into that moment?
So the first day was amazing. It was, and I'm telling you, ever since then, I have had the very best days. I feel amazing. And I love the words that you're using again, this word freedom. Somebody asked me a few weeks ago, they've joined me on some of my webinars and they've heard me use the word occupation. That's what I say I've enjoyed for the past 24 years. I don't do an occupation, but rather I do an occupation. And when the person heard that I started Mighty Works, they were like, "Well, Nefertiti, you called your work your occupation. Like, why do this?" I want somebody to hear me today. Sometimes when you make a change in your life, it don't mean nothing was wrong.
Right.
Right? It
Right.
doesn't have to be wrong for you
Yes,
to
yes.
say, I want something different. I want something more. And that's my story. My team and I still have a beautiful relationship. There was nothing wrong. Nefertiti was at a place where I wanted more. And
Yes.
so I had a beautiful first day. It's been about 7 weeks now. I've been doing Mighty Works. And of course, I guess you can imagine the biggest fear is how you gonna pay your bills without a consistent paycheck?
As the entrepreneur life begins.
Yes, girl, how you gonna pay your bills? And that's the fear. And once
Mhm.
again, she talks to me every day. She
Mhm.
tells me, "You know these contractors don't pay 30 days. They pay 30 days out. You was used to getting paid." She done said stuff. She talked to me all the time. I'm telling you,
We're gonna
but
have to tell her to sit down. Go.
I have a very good do not disturb button. Click the do not disturb button. And again, I'm saying to listeners who are saying, look at listeners saying, really, y'all, how do you do it? You tell her to sit down and be quiet. And you let those voices that let you know that you are worthy and you are enough and you have a skill, you let those voices out talk her. You increase the volume on those voices. And that's one of the ways to start the process. And you got to do the work too, because it does this entrepreneur life comes with a lot of work. So that the
Yes,
fear is, how you gonna pay them
it's not
bills?
for it's not for the weak. The people
Ooh,
think that, oh, I'll be an entrepreneur. I get to control my schedule. I get to do what I want to do. You've got to have the discipline.
yes.
What has entrepreneur life taught you thus far?
I like that word you used, the word discipline. You're right. I was talking to someone else that said, Nefertiti, I'm not even sure I could do what you're doing every day because I don't know if I would have the discipline to do it. So I have different branches of Mighty Works and I've jot down all of the responsibilities that come with those right now. So I start my day, I look at my schedule, and I highlight the things I'm going to focus on. I
Mm.
also time block my day. So this is my timer. It helps me stay on task. It has taught me what I tell other people. You only have 24 hours in this day, and you have to stop saying, I don't have enough time. God's design is perfect. If He thought you needed more than 24 hours, He would have given us that. What I need you to do, children, is use your time wisely. Use your time wisely, which means some of that social media stuff, some of the TV stuff, that stuff has got to go. Because
You're
if I'm
stepping
going to
on
do the
people's
work,
toes.
I'm sorry. I said my own feet hurt because I'm like, oh, Nefertiti. But at the end of the day, I have to be able to look back and say, what did you do with those 24 hours you had? And so it has taught me because again, I am now the CEO. Nothing's going to happen if it doesn't start come out of this seat. You have to be careful with how you spend your time. So,
So I had a conversation with someone just 2 days ago
mhm,
in which we had talked about a project, and I'm checking in on the project, and they haven't moved forward in it. It's a desire, it's a want, but creating the traction of the steps to actually execute it and move it from a want into a reality, the that disciplined piece isn't showing up. And so when
mm.
you talked about time blocking your day, and she held up the timer, y'all, evidence of, can you, because I think this is valuable, right? So it gets really practical that if you're going to move away from something that you've done for 24 years, you have to create a new normal. You have to
Yep.
create new skills. You have to create new practices so that you can get the more that you have been called to. Can you break down this concept of time blocking and using the timer?
Sure. So I use a technique called the Pomodoro. And the Pomodoro technique encourages you to work for 25 minutes and to take a break for 5 minutes. So I start my day by reading an affirmation. And so my calendar is right here. This is the affirmation I read to myself because you are right. The Nefertiti that was an employee for 24 years is not the same Nefertiti who is sitting with you today for this conversation. She may look the same, she may sound the same, but she is a different person. Now, a few years ago, I would have felt like, oh, she talking kind of, what is that? That's not that is confidence because you can't do this work and not be confident. And so we have to stop shying away from being confident about knowing what you know. So I
Yes.
have my CEO affirmation. It's really called that too. It's called the CEO affirmation. And then I open my calendar, see what the day entails. And then I open my digital calendar to track my Pomodoros. So 25 minutes of on task, no matter what it is, you stay on that one task for 25 minutes. So if I was preparing for my time with you today, no matter what else came in my mind, I was only supposed to work on that. If I do have an additional thought, I write it down on a post-it note. You just give it a second of your attention, but you stay on task for 25 minutes. You take 5 minutes of a break, and you got to get up, do something totally different, and then you come back for 25 minutes. After four 25-minute Pomodoros, you take a 30-minute break. And I do that over and over and over and over.
And you accomplished, because when we popped on, I said, how was your day? You were like, it was very productive. You were on such a
Listen.
high note
Yeah.
when we logged on.
Yeah.
It sounds like that cultivates productivity in a world and a culture where distraction is actually normal for people.
Absolutely. And so, Dr. Vidra, what I promised myself is I wasn't going to be one of those entrepreneurs who said, girl, I worked all weekend long. I'm not doing that. I have a husband. I have a mother who lives here. I have my daughter. The three of us together could be our own YouTube channel. So I'm trying to figure out if I need to put some cameras around this house so we could get really, I'm wondering if we, some days, but
Yes.
I want to be able to end my day feeling like I did something well with that time. And that is more important to me than anything right now is to be able to say, Nefertiti, did you do a good job with your time? And I think for our entrepreneurs, something else I'm learning, the side hustle culture,
Mm-hmm.
you know what these seven weeks of being an entrepreneur have taught me? I would have never been able to nurture this the way I can now. I always thought that I could do both. I really did. I was like, I can do both of these things. Dr. V, I some days I'm like, no wonder you were so tired. No
Yeah.
wonder you were so frustrated because I could do The most I've done as many as 18 Pomodoros in one day. So that's
Mm.
18, 25 minutes in one day, right? Or maybe 2 days. And still trying to do a full-time job, doing
Ooh.
webinars and all this other like there was no way I was going to be able to do this and keep my sanity. So I also want our entrepreneurs to know your side hustle at some point when you're ready is going to need your full attention.
Mm.
It's okay to do what you can
Wow.
do with it now, but at some point it's going to need your full attention.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning.
And so those are the lessons you've learned, and you've been walking this journey for 7 weeks now.
7 whole weeks.
It's seven. So you've been doing it, but seven, like this is the focus 7 weeks. So,
Correct.
what is one unexpected blessing that has come only after you have said this level of yes, even with uncertainty in front of you? What just one unexpected blessing has shown up for you?
I had to do a keynote event for a team in South Carolina,
Mhm.
and it was the first Mighty Works event that I booked and did all on my own. And one of the things that I'm hoping to do with Mighty Works is to create space for those of us who have a faith in something higher than me or you. There is a whole body of research that talks about how people who have a faith base that's where they get their resilience from.
Mhm.
I don't want those individuals to be silenced, right? There's also a term in the literature called toxic positivity where people are going around like everything is okay, everything's all right. That's not what faith says. Faith
Mm.
says I may not know what this entire staircase is going to lead me to, but I'm
Mhm.
going to keep taking these first steps. And I can do it with some grace and some smiles.
Mhm.
And so during that presentation, the blessing that I received was I was able to say it in exactly the way I wanted to say it without having to worry, oh my gosh, is somebody going to send that back to my team and say she said this? Like I showed up fully Nefertiti. And afterwards, we were able to have some beautiful conversations
Yeah.
about joy being your compass because that was the keynote title. It was Let
Yeah.
Joy Be Your Compass. And there was one young lady who came to me. She didn't say a word. She just stood in front of me for maybe 30 seconds and she was tearing up.
Mhm.
I didn't know what to say, and I felt like spirit said you don't have to say anything. Just
Mhm.
just hang out right here. And I wiped her face and I said, "Can I hug you?" She said, "Yes." And we hugged for about a minute.
Yeah.
And I could feel her weight. I could feel it. But Dr. V, we didn't say anything to each other.
Mm.
Like that was it. And so she emailed me a few days after the training explaining to me, and I told her, you didn't have to explain it. But the work that I'm trying to do now continues to be for those who care for babies, toddlers, and preschoolers. They're still my people. Because if you can't do that work with joy, I don't know what you can do that would bring you more joy than helping our smallest baby. I don't know what else could bring you joy. And so the unexpected blessing is
Mm.
feeling how good it feels to be Nefertiti right now at this phase of my life. I
Yeah.
thought I knew her. I thought I could feel her. But this level of intimacy I have with her is something I never thought I would feel. And
Yeah.
it feels so good.
Yes.
It feels so good.
And when I tell you the way you are explaining it, it's going directly to my soul. Like I feel
Yeah,
that you are with and it literally takes me to the social media kind of post around unapologetically
absolutely.
Nefertiti,
Absolutely.
unapologetic,
Yep.
and how
Absolutely.
that being that is blessing people. Mm.
That is my dear.
Oh.
I have a 10-year-old who's I am what you call an advanced age mom. I had Madison after the age of 35. I didn't know that. The new term, there's a softer term, is advanced age. In the hospital, they call me a geriatric mom.
No,
That's what
they
the paper
didn't.
said.
No,
Yes,
they
they did.
didn't.
Yes, yes, they did. On that piece of paper, it said Nefertiti Poyner, geriatric mama. And I said to my husband, I don't know who they talking about. You better give this clipboard back to whoever geriatric is, because that's not me. But
But
that's the,
that is not
isn't it
kind.
that's horrible.
That's not
So I
kind.
heard I heard they're changing it to advanced age. But anyway, I like I said, my mom lives here with me now, and I remember watching my mom as a social worker be tired and overwhelmed and working long hours, bringing those case
Mhm.
notes home, trying to make sure she kept DHS off her back. And I thought
Yeah.
when work got arduous, that's why you call it work, right? That's what it's supposed to feel like. But I don't want my 10-year-old to see that and believe that. I want her to
Mhm.
know that you can do what you want and you can get paid for it and you can have an occupation where you're not working all the time. I heard you say this too. The culture seems like just keep working, 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 working,
Mhm.
right? I call it the busyness badge. People feel good when they say I worked all weekend. No, I didn't. And I took a nap at 11 o'clock. And the bills are still getting paid and the work is still getting done. And I took a nap at 11 o'clock. Like that life can be yours.
Yeah.
It can be yours.
Yes. So you wrote a book, and the title by itself is audacious. I feel like it flows right along with what you just said. The title of the book is just audacious. She knows what she's doing. Like,
That's right.
and as they would say, period.
Period. Period.
How
Oh
did you
yeah.
land on that title?
Well, because I wrote it during COVID. I wrote it during COVID, and I felt like that term imposter syndrome people
Yes.
use. I'd heard
Mm-hmm.
people use it before, but I really didn't know exactly what that meant. And I was like, well, maybe because you don't have it. But during the COVID, I was doing all these different webinars talking about people about how to be resilient and how to bounce back. And I got off the webinar and I was a mess. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Ooh, Nefertiti." And so I needed a way to pour back into myself. And there came She Knows What She's Doing. Of course, I have in case,
Of
I
course,
got it for you.
of course.
But she knows what she's doing. I think I have to make this very clear. She knows what she's doing because she knows who she is and whose she is.
Mm-hmm.
That is what it takes to get to this place of knowing who she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't automatically start out like that, but I call the book She Knows What She's Doing because that woman unapologetically knows who she is, but she also knows whose she is. And I think those things together. I was thinking about like a toddler who you can watch them go do something, and you're like, "What they doing?" You're like, "Leave her alone. She know what she doing." You know that that that
Yes,
that that
yes,
autonomy that little babies have.
yes.
Like, just leave them alone. I want our grown-ups to have that same thing. Like, she
Mm.
may look like she know, leave her alone. She know what she doing
Mm-hmm.
because she knows who she is, which again takes a lot of work to get to know who you are
Yeah.
fully, unapologetically, and also whose you are, which I hope that I can't leave a conversation without letting people know this is nothing of Nefertiti. This is getting quiet and allowing God to work through me because the introverted Nefertiti would be sitting in the back somewhere doing none of this. Like, really? Like when I went to my first high school reunion, shout out to Frankfurt High School, Philadelphia. I'll forget which year I graduated. I'm so old. They were like, Nefertiti, what you doing for a living? And when I told them I was a trainer, they were like, what? Not you. I'm not shy, but I'm definitely an introvert. Ooh, I can't wait. When I get in front of the group, I say, y'all, I got a strategy for getting through. You want me to tell you what it is? They're like, yeah. Imagine it being over. And they look at me like, what? But when you hold somebody and they cry with you, and then they send you a email a few days later to explain how the content hit them and how it motivated them, that's what I mean when I say it being over. Right. And I know you understand this too. The keynotes, the presentations are 3 hours, 4 hours long. But the work to do this, that's really where we want to show up. And so I know you feel this. When we leave our rooms, we hope that we've done something that will resonate for days and months and years ahead.
Yes. Yes. And that level of freedom that I hear in the title of the book just echoes in how you are walking out this new chapter in your life. She knows what she's doing. She knows what
Absolutely.
she's doing. And
Absolutely.
she's living it on purpose. I am
Absolutely.
celebrating you, my
Thank
sister.
you. Thank
You
you.
are authentically not only wrote the book 5 years ago, but now you are walking in the truth of it in front of everyone for them to see and for them to be able to celebrate you as both the book and your life get in alignment with one another. Oh,
Thank you.
so beautiful,
Thank
so beautiful. So,
you.
as I think about how this journey was powerful for you, we actually are trying to create the same opportunity for authors all around Philadelphia, as well as many cities and states from around the country. They are all going to be converging here at
Yeah.
LitCon Philly. And I'm
Yes.
still crossing my fingers that I'm going to see you walk through the
Yes.
door.
Yes.
I'm going
Yes. Yes.
I'm like I'm going to see her walk through the door,
Yes, you
and
are.
we will be able to hug in person.
Yes.
But I just want to take a moment to make sure people of Philadelphia hear about this free, yes, I said free event that is coming your way next month. Take a look at this. LitCon Philly 2025 is here, y'all. Philly, are you ready? On September 20th, the city will be ignited with stories, strategy, and inspiration at the Community College of Philadelphia in the Great Room. Let me tell you, I am so excited. We have more than 40 authors, speakers, and vendors from around the country coming to Philly. And when I tell you, you are going to hear powerful voices. You are going to be connected with entrepreneurs, creatives. If you have been holding off on writing that book, we've got publishers coming into the room. Explore an opportunity to interact with the marketplace and get inspired. If you want to understand how to build wealth, if you want to understand how to move out of being stuck and walk in your purpose, if you just want to have a great time with a great book, this is the event for you. We're going to have children's books, we're going to have novels, we're going to have brand new releases from authors. Well, if you can't tell, I'm excited. And guess what? We're also going to have prizes. Yes, even prizes for everyone who comes in and is a part of this amazing conversation. There's an opportunity for you to win something. We're going to keep that a secret for right now. This is more than just an event. It's a movement. It is totally free. Did you hear me? Totally free. And it is focused on you, the community. So don't waste any time. It's now the time to get your free ticket at PhillyLitConEvents.com. It's Saturday, September 20th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Community College of Philadelphia in the Great Room. I'm one of your co-hosts, along with the founder of LitCon, Dr. Lena Payton Webb. She's going to be in the room, an author who has also published hundreds of other authors, and she's going to be sharing her wisdom and her insight and bringing resources with her. Don't miss this passion-filled moment. It's going to be a room where passion meets purpose. This is your moment to get inspired and to be empowered. Don't miss being in the room. Grab your free ticket today. PhillyLitconEvents.com. I want to see you there. Bye. So I can't wait for LitCon, and I'm hoping that you will be able to be in the room as well as our listeners. It's free, so we want to be able to provide resources because I feel like part of conquering imposter syndrome, which you brought up, is creating spaces for people to realize that what you've produced will actually add value to someone else's life. So you just need to be in the room to be able to experience how people receive what you are offering. And I feel like it quiets that girl's voice down a little bit. So, Nefertiti, when you are sitting in a place of walking out this new level of purpose, because you've always done purposeful things, you've been in your occupation. This is just a new level, a new phase of purpose walk for you. What role is your faith playing in helping you create this shift and surviving any fears that might come along with it? What role is your faith playing? Oh, your mic's muted. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Can't hear you. We'll figure it out. So as Nefertiti is working with her mic, some nuggets that have been powerful for me in this conversation has been walking unapologetically. And when you know who you are and whose you are, the opportunities that will result from that, and the ability for you to walk in a freedom that allows you to add value to the lives of many who are waiting for you to stop being afraid to be totally you. Stop shrinking, stop doubting, stop being afraid that what you have to offer, no one's going to want it. All of those things are lies. And Dr. Nefertiti has been sharing nuggets that absolutely will fill your soul. And so now I want to hear from her on what is faith, what role is faith playing in this pivot or shift in your life, especially at a time when there's so much uncertainty around all of us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. There
Can you
you
hear me
go.
now? So I always say just when we start talking about the faith,
You
the
know,
mic
you
goes
know
off.
that's what I was thinking.
See, but that's once again, say it loud and say it proud, and let nothing keep you from saying it loud and saying it proud. And so when you ask me where my faith, talk about the freedom. I was able to write about my faith in my mission and my vision for my organization. It permeates through everything that I say and that I do. I don't want to be that type of Christian, however, where you say I love Jesus on my shirt and on my hat. I always tell people, you gotta be, I'm scared of people who do it like that. I want my legacy
Mm.
to be less of me and more of him. That's just it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to scream that from the rooftops. I want it to be a part of my imprint in everything that I say and do. And so I was able to write it into my mission and my vision statement. And I thank you for an opportunity to talk about it because I don't want to be mistaken. This ain't about Nefertiti.
Mm.
This isn't about me. In everything I say and do, I ask that I decrease so that he can increase. That is part of this next phase of my life. And so it's everything.
Yes.
It's everything.
And when you are able to actually integrate your faith in what you're doing, it's really interesting for me because that part has been a journey for me on literally on the flip side of adversity.
Okay.
I wrestled with it at the start. So this was something that I asked for in November of 2020. I prayed
Okay.
about it, group of women, the very first girlfriend gathering with the 7 women. I shared with them, you know what, I'm just asking if the Lord would give me one podcast. I don't know how to do podcasts. I don't know anything about it. I have no idea, but I just feel like I'm going to ask. And
Yep.
so then I ask, and it's on every major podcast platform. Like, you know
Look
how
at it.
abundance happens, right?
Yes, yes.
But then I got, as we were walking it out, I then got afraid. Well, do I share my faith? Do I not? Do I hide it? Do I, only keep it about this or that? And I really had to reconcile that this is not just about Deirdre. I have to fulfill the assignment that I've been given. And this is an answer to a prayer. So I freely tell people, you do not have to believe what I believe, but if you want
Correct.
to know how I get through, I've got to
Correct.
include my faith.
Correct. Correct, correct, correct. It's interesting what you say about the Building Your Bounce book that I wrote as a part of
Mhm.
Devereaux. That the first of all, I think our audience needs to understand, if you really want to make it plain, the neuroscience around development and well-being is almost always backed up in the Bible. But that's another conversation. We're gonna leave that one right there. And when I
Yes.
wrote Building Your Bounce, protective factors, resilience, again, has a very much a biblical base. But when I wrote She Knows What She's Doing, here's what God told me.
Yes.
Nefertiti, I like it how you tell people about rubber bands and umbrellas and all that. He said, but I need you to show them me. That's what I heard, Dr. V. He said,
Mm.
I need you to show them me. And so that's what I had to do in this. And you are
Yeah.
right. I said, but God, I can't talk about that in platforms because I won't be able to get paid. And he said, do what I told you to do. And so this book, I was able to add my faith in it. And so you're right. I mean, yes, it's not about me. It
Mhm.
really isn't about me. It is about doing your skirt work is sometimes what I call it. All of us have a lot of things that keep the skirt flying in the air.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just got to get quiet, deal with your traumas, build your relationship with your spiritual beings, and that's the way you get to the place of she knows what she's doing. And
Mhm.
unapologetically. You don't make apologies for that anymore.
Oh, so if someone is listening and they are they've been sitting on the idea, they've been second guessing, and that voice actually has been loud around, you know what, you're not actually good enough to go out on your own, or you're not actually good enough to write or finish the book. They've been hearing it. If I gave you the opportunity in this moment to speak directly to that person who's listening, what advice or what insight would you offer them to help them actually tap into joy and fulfill purpose?
I would ask that person to go get a chair and sit down in a chair and get another chair and sit down in front of them. And I would like to ask them to pretend they were listening to them. Where I am, what I want to do. And I would ask them to record what they would say to that other person. So if I'm sitting across from Nefertiti and I say, Nefertiti, you're not smart enough. You don't look like the people that are in your room. You don't have enough money. Like I would say all those things, and I would talk to her. What I bet you happened is we talk nicer and more encouraging to that person than we do to ourselves. And so, whenever someone talks with me when they're feeling moments of self doubt, I ask them to talk to the person like they would talk to somebody they love and care about. Because ultimately, we should be talking to ourselves in the very best way, but sometimes we give that love to other people. The
Yeah.
research calls it self compassion. I think it's a time that we do a little bit of self compassion. And also, I just celebrate you and your work because you also are doing something that I've told people, I encourage people to think about. The song of self care and putting yourself first, it shouldn't be a solo thing. The communities that you're working to create, the messages that you are advancing, are creating a group so we can get out of these silos that we are working in. We will never be able to build the kingdom with silos. And so I just appreciate your work because you are making sure people understand yes, you have some beautiful skills, but when you put your skills with her skills and his skills, it goes back to what I tell people all the time. It takes a village to raise children. But later in life has taught me the village has to be healthy. So no more
Yes.
just a village to raise children. Let's make sure this village is healthy. And I thank you and celebrate you for your work.
Oh, I love everything about that visual of sitting in a chair
Yep.
across from yourself and recording it
Yep.
because you've given some really tangible and brain based approaches that are so practical. So, the post it note, oftentimes people talk about, I have this mantra in my head, but you literally picked up the post-it note. It is physically something
Yep.
that I look at. You reached over for the CEO affirmation. You said, see, it is right here. And then you just did another visual. Like, I could see playing that video back and holding myself accountable, and then really reconciling, why is it so important to have these visual, concrete things in this type of a journey?
Yeah, it's why we're so attracted to social media. I mean, I think one of the things we have to do with all of this is social media, AI, for example, we
Mhm.
have to take the good with the bad, right? And use the good for our good. The brain likes to think in pictures. And so when you can take an abstract concept and give it a picture, people won't always remember that word, but they will remember the picture. And so that's why we do vision boards at the
Yes.
beginning of the year because what you're trying to do is get it from your conscious to your subconscious. And I think that's the process I had to get through around my worthiness. It was in my consciousness, but now it's got to seep back here in my subconscious. Like that girl is all of that, not because of anything, but she's been working at it. And
Yes.
yes, she messes up. Yes, she gets confused. Yes, all of those things still exist. And she is still can be confident. And
Yes.
so I think you can cut through some of the noise by giving yourself pictures. And so that's why I have all these things, which it sometimes is it's a mess. Because if you look down here, I got stuff everywhere.
A beautiful mess. A
I like the way it's
beautiful
a
mess.
beautiful
It
mess.
is a
Yeah,
beautiful mess.
a beautiful mess.
Oh, this has been such a powerful conversation. And I
I've enjoyed
know
it.
people are going to not only listen to it once, but they will listen to the replay. And I'm
Yes,
encouraging you
yes,
to share it. If you
will do.
haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please make sure that you do that as well. This is
Yes,
an opportunity for people to get really practical as well as inspired.
yes,
Sometimes we talk so much about being inspired that we don't have the practical, but they got
yes.
both in this conversation.
Good. That's important to me.
So I want to make sure that people know how to follow you and how
Yeah,
to get the book. So, our
yeah.
last few minutes, I want to make sure that you have that opportunity. Tell the
Okay.
people how they
Tell the
can
people.
how they can follow you and how they can get the book.
All right. So I think the easiest thing to do is start at nefertitipoyner.com. Go to Nefertiti, Nefertiti, pointer.com. That's the easiest thing to do because then you can find all of the other social media things. Because as you can imagine, I had to limit some of the letters on characters on Instagram, Facebook. It's a mess. So just start at nefertitipoyner.com and it'll point you in the direction of all the different places where we hang out. But again, you don't have to do this alone if you don't want to. We can do it together. We
Yes.
can
And
do it
so you
together.
spelled your first name, but I want to make sure that they know how to spell the last name. So
Sure,
let's
sure,
spell the whole website out
sure.
for, especially for our listeners.
Absolutely. Nefertiti. Last name is Poyner, Poyner.com. And I started to do Kim. I probably started to put something Kim related in there, but I know who Nefertiti is now. And if my mama saw me shorten my name again, because I got in trouble for wanting to be named Kim when I was little. My mom pulled out the encyclopedia, made me do book reports. I was
I
like,
know that's right.
lady.
I know that's right. We're going to shift that narrative, all about,
Yes.
all around the power.
So
Oh,
NefertitiPoyner.com.
well, my new good girlfriend. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
I'll see
Thank
you
you
in
for
3 weeks.
yes. Thank you so much for your yes, for your wisdom, for your sharing, for your truth and your transparency. All of it in 1 55 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for
Truly,
the
truly.
invitation.
Oh, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. And as always, we continue to strive to provide healing conversations, recognizing that what you've been through does not have to define where you are going. So, same place, same time next week, right here on the flip side. I'll see you then.